This week we watched The King of Comedy.
Good joke, dude.
Thanks, dude. I was waiting for that one.
No, this week we watched a new movie called The King of Comedy.
That was a good joke, dude.
Thanks, dude.
Let's talk about The King of Comedy. Let's stop joking around.
Speaking of joking around, we actually saw King of Comedy today.
I used to think that my life was a tragedy. But now I realize it's a comedy.
I was very excited because I heard that they were making a Joker origin movie in the DC universe, but it was not going to be Jared Leto, and I said that's a good sign.
Is it in the DC universe? Like officially?
I think it's separate.
So
dude.
it's like Logan.
Yeah, I think it's separate.
Well, it's not in the universe, but now Warner Bros. Is just producing all these alternate whatever. Okay. Who gives a shit movies because all their movies suck.
And then if they give Joaquin Phoenix enough money to come back, maybe he'll be in the universe.
But I was excited, and then the trailers looked really good. And I was like, it looks just like that other film, Taxi Driver.
I was also excited for it because I thought the trailers looked really sweet. And I was like, if this is what it looks like, this movie will be sweet. And on top of that, I was just like hoping it would be good because not just like I thought, oh, that could be a good movie. It was like, I like Joaquin Phoenix a lot. And if it's like a crappy schlock bad, like, oh, let's set up the universe for the Joker. This is going to be a terrible movie. I'd be like, oh, Joaquin Phoenix completely sold out. He would never. I would never think he would do that.
Yeah. And
like that would kind of ruin a lot for me. I would be more upset about Joaquin Phoenix being like, you know, part of the advertisement where it's like he's crazy. He's this like super deep actor and like he's taking on this role. And then you watch it and it's a crappy DC movie.
Yeah. And then
Ben
Affleck shows up.
And then Ben Affleck shows up in the end.
Beats the shit out of Joaquin
like that.
Phoenix.
That would have been more upsetting. I'm glad it wasn't that.
But the trailer's a trailer. You know, different people make the trailer than who made the movie. So
That's true. Suicide Squad had a great trailer.
it didn't.
It did.
it had a pretty good trailer.
It had a good
dude.
trailer, dude.
This has been an ongoing debate since that movie.
You're
That's like-
stupid. It's a terrible trailer.
You're the only one that doesn't like that trailer, dude.
It's just
I'm the only one on
It's
the
a
planet.
well-edited
Yes,
and
people
excited-
like that trailer,
it's,
dude.
It's a
It's
good
a
trailer,
terrible
dude. Listen, Brian.
It's the reason that movie made anyway because people are like, that movie looks awesome.
Yeah, the trailer's very misleading. That is what...
Yeah,
it is a bad trailer in the sense that it completely lies to your face and makes you think that you're seeing a good movie.
No,
but-
this whole argument started because we were like, oh, we're excited because the trailer's good. And I said, if the trailer looks terrible, the movie's going to be terrible.
Listen, I
None
knew
of
it
us
was
said
gonna...
we were excited.
Yeah.
We were just like, the trailer looks awesome.
Brian, I was also on your side at the time. I did not think the movie was going to be good, but at the same time I was like, well, it's cool when they play the Queen song and that it's edited well.
I loved Joker. I thought it was sweet. It made me feel all the right things. Like, it made me feel the things that it wanted me to feel. The parts that were really shocking were shocking. The violent parts were very hard-hitting, and I liked that. I thought that was sorely missing from a lot of the times when they like, oh, we're going to do a compliment, but it's going to be serious. It's going to be really serious. It's like, okay,
Dark
and then it's
energy.
PG-13.
I was definitely really glad this movie was rated R.
But no, he blows the guy's brains out.
Yeah, dude.
That's why Watchmen's great, dude. Like, if Dr. Manhattan just points at you and you explode.
Then you explode into It also had its fair share of really dark humor. It fit the thing. It wasn't just here's a true story about a guy you should feel really bad about, and he becomes a bad guy at the end. It's really sad.
No, it's uncomfortable the entire time.
It's uncomfortable the entire time, and the whole thing feels like a really bad joke. Drawn out over 2 hours.
The people that were worried that they were going to make the Joker an empathetic character,
Keegan.
Yeah, Keegan.
You have nothing to worry about. He is the least empathetic person on the entire planet. You might feel bad for him for a little bit for the first 2 minutes.
You might feel bad for him in like that guy needs help and we should put him and lock him away.
But then after,
not like a it's just the world's fault. It's all
the world did this to him.
Which in a way a little bit because there's
it's
something
the
revealed
world,
later where you're just like, okay, that clearly he should have been taken care of after that, but nothing helped him.
But it's also the world's fault in like a way that is very hard to help. It's like a
this
child
stuff
abuse.
happens.
That's one of the most interesting things the movie does, because the movie isn't just, oh, the man goes crazy, turns into the funny murder clown. The movie is kind of about how we treat mentally ill people. There's several parts in the movie where they're like, and even he says it at the end, where it's like, society does not give a shit about mentally ill people, and that society does not care. And not mentally ill because, you know, mental illness is like being talked about more. It's not just depression or anxiety. They're talking like actual, like, life-threatening,
it covers a lot of things.
Schizophrenia and stuff like that. Like, and it's not saying depression isn't like super serious, but like the people with really serious mental illness, and they're just like, and society doesn't really care. They just see him as like a burden. They don't care. They throw him in the trash.
Yeah, and I think that's where the movie does a really good job. Is the whole time you're just watching Joaquin Phoenix, and you're just like, I'm so uncomfortable watching him. Like the whole time you're just like, it's a pretty
prove his point.
For the most part, it's a pretty slow movie up until like the third act. But you're just watching, just like kind of sitting there, like, what is he gonna do? What is he thinking? Where is this gonna go? Because he's just doing a bunch of uncomfortable stuff the whole movie, and he's just getting worse and worse.
And that's another thing, like kind of what you said, where it's, you don't really empathize with him, but he is like mentally ill, and it's like you said, it's a problem that doesn't really have a clear solution, which is another big thing about what the movie's trying to say, where it's like, yeah, this guy needs help, but where is he going to get it?
Yeah.
He has no money, he has nothing, he has no way to get the help that he needs.
Well, and like the stuff that led to him being who he is stuff that's not a public issue. It's family abuse. Like, it's something that was done to him by loved ones, people that he, allegedly should have cared about him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what is society supposed to do about that?
I honestly only have, like, I don't know. I wouldn't say I loved it. I did like it, and I was entertained the whole time, and I was like intrigued watching it, and I really liked the ending. I liked like the whole third act.
The third act is
when without spoiling it, there's a scene where a couple of his friends show up at an apartment. After that, you're just like, okay,
all bets are off.
All bets are off. Kevin,
that might be my favorite scene in the entire movie.
That is a really good scene.
Like I love that scene. It's so horrendously violent, but simultaneously really funny and awkward, and it's just it was all the best parts of the movie.
I have like one problem with it, and it's at least right now, I don't like the subplot with him and the girl, because
I would agree.
Here's
with
why.
That.
And spoilers for this, because I think it's a dumb thing that they did. They made like a weird twist moment where it's like the whole time it was fake. And in his head, and I was like, of course it was in his head. The whole time I was not thinking, this is real life. This normal person.
Brian and I started talking about it like the second time he talked with her. I was like, okay, so this woman is okay with like he's like, I stalked you, and she's like, that's hot, and then he just makes out with her.
Yeah, no, it's all clearly in his head.
They also set it up that he fantasizes about shit like that.
Yeah,
from the beginning.
They do that, and so
has a
Brian guessed it basically immediately. Brian was like, she's not real.
I would have. Well, that's the thing. I didn't think it was something that was a mystery at all, but like that's my problem with it was I was fine if it would have gone somewhere else, but the way it went was just like this twist moment where it's like, did you know she had these fantasies about this girl and they weren't actually friends or anything?
Yeah.
And now she's just this random person. He went into her house.
They could have kept that subplot with that girl. I don't think it needed the fantasy stuff at all. Like, they could have kept the girl parts, the part like the real life parts. But I don't think him, like, imagining she was there added anything to the scenes that she was in.
I disagree. Like when she comes by and she's okay with, like, the, they joke about the whole heisting thing, I was like, that's riding the line a little. And I was like, okay, I don't know, we'll see where that whole thing goes. Because, there are cases in movies like The King of Comedy and even Taxi Driver where they introduce a female character, a female catalyst, for them to kind of bounce off of and to be like almost enabling them for a bit until it gets too crazy, right?
Yeah, but at no point do you think that she's crazy though. Yeah,
no, not that she's crazy, but I was like, okay, so maybe she's this enabling thing. I'm waiting to see how that turns out. And then when she says, I'll bet that guy was a hero, and I was like, you probably imagined that part at least. I figured there were parts that were imagined. I just wasn't sure
how much of it.
What was, because they kept coming back and having scenes where it wasn't just one long prolonged scene. That
one thing with me,
coming back, and then when it was revealed, it wasn't just a reveal to us. It was a reveal to him. He realized, I'm schizophrenic like my fucking mom. I'm psychotic and he just, I gotta leave now. Like, this is like it dawned on him too. So, which is why I was okay with that being a twist moment, because it wasn't just.
I would have liked it more if it led to something else. The fact that she's fake and all that, it would have been great because it's like, oh, he's an unreliable narrator. Like, this movie's from his perspective, and it's clear his perspective is warped. So if they had to reveal that the girl's fake, that whole third act, like, if they messed around with that a little bit, like, well, how much of this is he really doing?
Yeah.
How much of this is actually happening? Like the riot where they all build him up and he's like, everyone loves him and he's all
when
great.
he goes on the talk show that he dreams of
Yeah,
going
so
on.
if they lean into that more and like the ending is like you have no idea what's real and what isn't, but no, the only thing about him being an unreliable narrator is just that part.
Is that part, yeah.
And it ultimately does not have a single impact on the whole.
I feel like they kind of wanted it to be more ambiguous, and I think they took that kind of out of the movie. It seemed like, in a way, it felt like they were trying to go a little ambiguous with it, but like they didn't want an ambiguous ending.
I wonder if they are gonna have like, oh, we have like an alternate scene or an extended scene where like we do play around with that more and test audiences were like, that's stupid.
So what I like the movie. I didn't love it, kind of like you, because I had the problem with the girl, but I also had another big problem.
What?
Where I didn't like any of the shit where he was interacting with the Wayne family. I thought that was a huge waste of time.
You and I are on the same boat there.
I hated all
the
that.
Batman stuff.
I didn't hate all the. I mean, it was whatever. I liked the scene where he meets him in the bathroom.
Yeah, that's a good scene.
I like that scene,
but
that's what made it okay.
But for me, like, so you're watching this movie and like for the first like good amount of it, you're like, okay, this is just gonna be about the Joker and how he's going crazy, and they're like, but he also has a relationship with the Wayne family. They're destined to be together.
My problem with that isn't those scenes. It's really just. And then we have to show Bruce Wayne's parents get killed, and the pearls, even the whole pearls thing happens. It's like it's exactly the same.
I honestly thought the movie was gonna have him just straight up kill Bruce Wayne's parents. I thought that
like Jack Nicholson.
I'm glad they didn't do that. I'm glad it was just a catalyst of something
I'm
that
glad
he
they
started.
didn't do that, but at the same time, I just wish that wasn't in the movie because the whole time I was like, this is really cool. DC's not putting their fingers in this at all.
Well, yeah, DC is the worst at that. They're the worst offenders when it comes to sticking their grubby little hands on their like. Oh, God.
Remember when I was saying I was tensely watching Joaquin Phoenix and like what he's gonna do. I was also tensely like, when are they gonna ruin it with Batman or something like that?
And you can feel DC was like, well, wait, Thomas Wayne, he has to be in there, and well, no, he doesn't. He doesn't have to be in there at all. We don't have to show.
I was gonna forgive.
He
them.
can be on TV. We can have the part where he's being elected for mayor. Have to be a little shout out.
Like I would forgive them if it was just like those scenes, but like I really don't think they needed the whole Bruce Wayne.
No,
I would even go as far as to say it completely slowed down the second act. Like the fact that he was also trying to find out if Bruce Wayne was his father, it slowed down the pacing of him finding out that he might be or that his.
And like I didn't like any of that stuff. And in the second act especially, it takes out like a substantial amount of time. Like if they cut all that out, you'd have like an hour and a half of just the Joker stuff. Because all the stuff without the Bruce Wayne stuff and Thomas Wayne stuff is great.
Yeah.
All that shit with Thomas Wayne I didn't like at all, and it hurt my opinion of the movie because again it takes up a substantial amount of time.
I didn't think that at all. We keep going down the line and then just the record skips. But like
I was waiting for Batman to show up.
No, I wasn't waiting for Batman to show up. But like my logic always is the Rogue One rule, where if you watch this film and you had never seen any other film in your life, does it still work like without the logic if you cut it off from everything? Rogue One does not, because then the bad guy just comes in and murders a bunch of your favorite good guys, and they make him seem really cool, and you're like,
where did that
guy come from?
Who's that guy?
Who's that? That's crazy. Those were the good guys. It's like if at the end of Schindler's List, like a Nazi just came and just did a Kingsman thing and just started shooting a bunch of Jews. It's like, look, he's so cool. He's murdering all of them. Isn't that sweet? It's like. He was the bad guy. He was the bad guy the whole movie. So if you remove the fact that it is Batman, they set up earlier on in the movie, they're like, oh, Thomas Wayne, he's this big guy. He's this rich guy. He's going to help us out. Finds out that's his dad. He clearly has dad issues because like, I wish I had a son like you. When Robert De Niro's out, I'm like, oh, he didn't have a dad figure in his life. He has this hole to fill. And then when Bruce Wayne comes in, he's like, oh, he's psychotically, he's like, oh, I gotta find out because Bruce Wayne, maybe he can help me or whatever. And they find out his mom's lying. That leads him back to killing his mom, and that escalates his killing spree more when he had to kill his own mom. And then Wayne getting killed is a product of the thing. So like, it's not a direct line. So I get what you guys are saying. It's more of a web, but it did not bother me. I did not think it was slow personally, but that's.
Yeah, I would agree with that, except for the fact that they have it's like in the climax of the movie, it's like this big old thing. And like
And
all
then
this stuff with the
Bruce
Joker, and then it
Wayne.
cuts to and Bruce Wayne's parents get killed, and then it cuts back, and it's like
I do think it would have been better if they didn't show it.
Oh, another complaint I had is even though the third act is great, the ending takes too long. Not like the end. I mean, the end of the movie
Right.
drags its feet so fucking long.
Kind of a weird complaint that I started having throughout the movie, and this might just be because I have a small attention span, and I'm kind of dumb, but I was really getting tired of the extended shots of him laughing and dancing. So it's like the first time you get a long laugh and it's like, all right, it's really uncomfortable. Then you get a few more. But like they kept doing it throughout the movie and it was just like, all right, we're spending 20 minutes watching him laugh at something. I get it. And then they would do the same thing where he dances after like every time he does something evil. And I was like, okay, I've seen enough of him dancing and slow motion dancing down the stairs. It was in the
But yeah,
trailer.
I think
the
oh, go for it.
so for me, the ending, like, you have the ending where, like, again, spoilers, we already said spoilers. He shoots Robert De Niro, he goes up to the camera, and he says, remember that slide? And then it cuts off, and it's like, oh, that would be a great place to end it. But then it keeps going, and then he's in the cop car, and then he gets run over, and the people pull him out, and he starts, standing on the car. And then it cuts, I'm like, oh, that's a great ending.
Yeah, that's a great
and then he's in the hospital, and then he's walking around, and I'm like, just fucking end the movie.
Yeah,
I think they shouldn't have cut to the hospital.
They didn't need the hospital.
Yeah,
Because then it's just like it's implied he gets away.
Well, and then the hospital, what do? They add 5 minutes of him laughing and another 10 minutes of him dancing.
I think the laughing was just such an interesting way to show or like to make people uncomfortable, and where
Yeah.
you're just like, oh
Well,
man, he goes up and does stand up and he just can't stop laughing.
I know it's not like I didn't like the laughing. I was fine for it for 95% of it. It's just there were a few times I was like, okay, you could have cut it off.
You can
like,
cut a little,
yeah, like you've been,
yeah.
we've had him laughing for like
That's
just
fair.
past the point where I was like, I'm not uncomfortable anymore. I'm just bored. Like I want the scene to move on now.
Tonally, it's similar for me to American Beauty, where both those movies do this thing where they both think that they're awesome, and it rides that line where it's like, this is a good movie, but the movie also thinks it's awesome, like with all those like long extended shots of him singing and dancing and like all the lights and the music swelling. It's
Well, I
like
think that's
this movie
why
is
the
so
ending's
obsessed
so
with
long.
itself.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing I want to bring up. That I loved the music. I thought the music was.
Oh yeah.
The movie's beautiful.
Yeah, it
The
looks
movie-
really-
Yeah, it's a gorgeous.
It's almost completely
gorgeous
handheld,
look.
and I thought it was sweet.
Yeah.
And Joaquin Phoenix.
Handheld, the lighting was really, really good in a lot of the
dude.
scenes.
Well,
It's
Joaquin Phoenix
super
fucking
creepy
nails it.
looking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Joaquin
Joaquin
Phoenix is amazing.
acting wise. As if it, as if it's a surprise.
Generally,
to
if we
everybody.
forget to bring up something like that, it's because it's obviously amazing to us. Like Joaquin Phoenix did a great job.
Oh, yeah,
I
he
think
knocks
we
it out of
all
the park, dude.
we all
Well, that's
expected it.
Because everyone was like, after Heath Ledger, they're like, anyone who tries to be the Joker is just going to be compared to that. But he does such like
a different
unique
thing with
yeah,
it.
he's
Yeah,
some
like-
he doesn't even touch any of
One
the
thing I
that
loved
shit.
about his performance as the Joker is Heath Ledger commanded every scene he was in. He was just
he was the
most
alpha male in every room.
Whereas Joaquin Phoenix is the exact opposite. He is the beta in every single situation.
Even with his
that he's
dying
in.
mother.
Even with his dying mother. Even at the end, even when he is the Joker, like he has become the man on top of the car. He is still like he sounds like a loser. Like he sounds like
Especially
this nasally loser.
Since the movie takes his perspective, it's the ending is so interesting because like you said, he's the beta in every situation. Like Robert De Niro calls him out on his bullshit, and he's completely right. He's like, you were just basically throwing a giant fit. You're basically throwing a fit, and people are dying because you're throwing this fit. It's childish. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
And he gives this whole speech, but throughout the whole speech, you're like, but it's true. He's just having a fit.
Yeah.
He even said before when they were like, oh, are you part of the protest? And he's
No,
like,
I'm
oh,
not.
I don't care about anything. Like he doesn't even have a political motivation. He's just being a baby.
Yes.
And so that's why I agree with you. Like he has no power in any situation.
No.
Which is great because like when Heath Ledger took on the role, everyone was like, no one's going to top Jack Nicholson. He was the Joker. Like, and he was like, oh, well, I mean, if everybody laughs like him, like how many times can you do a different laugh? You know. So Heath Ledger nailed down, did his own thing, came up with something radically different, and then and that just took it up another notch. And Joaquin Phoenix was just like, what do you do now? But he found a way, especially with the laughing thing. Like
His laugh is super uncomfortable.
is so super uncomfortable. You know,
It's that
like,
part when he's walking away, he's laughing, and it just goes away immediately.
Well, and I
love that.
really like the
was
gimmick
great.
of he laughs of like the laugh disorder that he has he laughs when he's uncomfortable.
He has a laugh disorder, and he laughs completely different when he's actually meaning to laugh.
Yes.
Like his laugh is totally different.
Well, and his laugh is like it's almost scarier when he's actually laughing. Like his genuine laugh is creepy as fuck.
Yeah, everything about him is very creepy. Like the part after he kills those 3 dudes and he just goes into a gross bathroom and starts dancing.
Yeah.
And you're just like, is this the rest of the movie? Is he just gonna dance in this gross bathroom for the like?
Oh,
honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if that's what was gonna happen.
Yeah,
It was a.
He did such a good job at just being the most uncut. Like every time he did anything, like I was looking at both of you and I was like, "That's not okay. He's not okay. He's the scariest man."
Oh,
who's ever
this
lived."
movie is basically a horror movie.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was scared the entire time.
So final thoughts, I guess we're gonna do final thoughts.
Well, wait. One thing I like the movie, by the way. Fuck all of you. There's a lot of movies like in this genre of like crazy guy who goes on this like drive. You have Taxi Driver, like those types of movies. There is always the girl, and I was kind of hoping that they would do, like Brian said, I was really hoping they'd do something more interesting with that. Like you have a situation where like Drive, for example, this crazy person. And who has very violent tendencies somehow is still able to get the girl in the end. Like you have
Well, because his violent tendencies don't show up until later.
Well, and also they serve the girl usually.
He also looks like Brian Gosling.
He also looks like, but like they have this framework, like they have this genre where there is this trope, and I was kind of hoping that something more interesting would happen with it. I was a little disappointed when it was just, oh, I go into the house and like maybe something happens after that, but they don't. If there is something, they don't tell you something happens in the room. It's just kind of like, oh, he goes in the room and
There were a couple moments in that movie where he just where Joaquin Phoenix would just do something and I would just bust up laughing, like when he ran right into the screen door and just blam.
Yeah,
yeah, that was great.
like the
So shocked, like it actually was like almost a jump scare. I was like, oh geez. Final thoughts. I would say 8 out of 10 space eggs. I enjoyed the movie a lot. I think it could have been a little tighter. I think like with editing, I think it could have been tweaked to a near perfect movie. But as it stands, it's just a movie I really like a lot, and one that I could watch again.
It was a good time in the theater.
Yeah, I think it's a really intriguing movie. I think it's definitely worth seeing despite the flaws. I really like that this movie exists. I think that's going to be the line on every single review of this movie. It's just like, even if you don't like it, I like that this movie exists.
to thank DC for making this movie.
But I really do appreciate that it exists though, because it's like all these superhero movies, they never take chances like this. It's never like, let's do this weird idea with it. It is very similar to another movie that Joaquin Phoenix made like a year or two ago. I mentioned this to you guys before.
Yeah.
Called
You Were Never Really Here.
Yeah, You Were Never Really Here. There's a lot of stuff that's like plucked from that movie that's in this movie, like a bunch of like fantasy stuff about him killing himself and things like that. His whole relationship with his mom is exactly like it is in that movie too.
So are you saying that he ripped off his own film?
I honestly think maybe he was like, nobody freaking appreciated or watched my movie. It was really deep and like had this. I have to make it.
I have to make it again.
I have stupid Batman in it so you cucks can watch
in
it.
it so people can freaking watch my movie about psychopaths and blah blah blah. I think he honestly. So it was really good until the part when he went to the tattoo parlor and got damage across his head. So I'm gonna have to give it a 0.
I liked it a good amount. The dialogue is super. I wouldn't say it's really good, but it's perfect for every scene. Like it's not like. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No,
like
I
it's
know
not.
what you mean.
Yeah, where like the dialogue isn't like, oh my god, like the dialogue's amazing, but like all the dialogue is just.
It's what it needs to be.
Yeah, it's exactly what it needs to be. Like a lot of his lines are so disturbing, and again, it's not like super artsy or great or masterful, but like when he's just sitting in that girl's house and she's like, "Who the fuck are you? Get out of my house!" and he just goes, "I had a very bad day."
The Joker character is a very fascinating one in this movie. Like,
Yeah,
I think it's a
so
well-written character.
He's a well-written character. The movie is pretty interesting.
For a character who is usually more interesting when you don't know his backstory,
They pull off a great backstory.
I love that part when he's like, I forgot to punch out. He just busts.
Then he just breaks the fucking punch-out thing. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I liked it, and yeah, watch it. It's really good.
Space Eggs.
What's it out of?
So you, out of 12, like those is.
Interesting. I did not, I had that
You
problem
had
with
some
the
problems
ending.
with it, yeah. You might have had the most problems.
I probably had the most problems. Yeah, I
Yeah.
probably liked it the least out of all of us. How much is it out of? 12?
It's out of 12.
I'm gonna give it 12.
That's perfect score. That's perfect score.
perfect
Well,
score.
Brian's first perfect score.
So Alex, what were the final thoughts in SpaceX?
So final thoughts.
That's 20 out of 36 SpaceX.
Yeah, I liked it. I had fun. It was a fun movie. I don't know.
SpaceX.
I'd give it like a.
I wouldn't say it's. Oh, it's.
It's not a fun
It's
movie.
entertaining,
I
it's not
enjoyed.
fun,
I
yeah.
enjoyed watching. By fun, I
It's
mean
It's just like Toy Story 4.
I was-
It's a good place. You have a
It's
good
basically
time.
the same film as Toy Story.
Forky actually is in it.
Go see it. It might be the best DC movie.
In the
Ever.
new DCU.
Yeah, ever.
Not ever in the
In
in
history,
the
it's the
current
best one.
DCU.
Yeah, in the current DCU.
It might be the best DC movie. I mean,
Aquaman.
Of course, after Aquaman and Batman v Superman, it's the third
you
best.
just
Two
wait,
better ones.
You just wait for Birds of Prey, dude.
You're right. That will be. That
You know what?
we
We
might
might
have to
ruin
do
this movie like hardcore. Like DC puts their big old fat finger
Yeah,
in it.
yeah.
Is the girl in the movie that we had the problems with? What if like the twist was I'm Harley Quinn?
The
Oh,
black
God.
girl.
Who cares?
So yeah,
Joaquin Phoenix is
progressive.
just like Jared Leto.
But yeah, anyway, I would say that it's got like a solid. I'd say like an 8 out of 12.
So it's 28 out of 48 SpaceX.
That's a
positive
terrible score.
Good time at the movies. Don't make young
Kevin, that's a
scores.
30-minute review for you.
That's a terrible score.
Is Red Letter Media gonna do a bit where they make Rich Evans laugh hysterically because he sounds like the Joker when he laughs?
That's true. I think he honestly stole Rich Evans. They have grounds to sue. They have the same laugh.
Chickens.